Hello there.
General Kenobi.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you guys are all having a great, fantastic day. And for today's latest episode of Breakdown, we will be going over the QQ9 with some ranked gameplay. Arguably one of the best guns in the game, in my opinion, and I'll be explaining everything. So let's get into it. So let's get started with the origin of the QQ9. So the QQ9 is actually known as the MP5, and it's appeared in practically, not all, but practically every single Call of Duty game, including Modern Warfare 2019, as well as Black Ops Cold War. And in Modern Warfare 2019, it's practically seen as OP, and if you use it, people will get annoyed of you. But nonetheless, it's a fairly common weapon. Everyone knows it. So in Call of Duty Mobile, however, here's the class setup that we're going to be using for the QQ9/MP5. So here's the thing about this weapon. With the 10mm round, if you attach it on, it's going to help you compete with the HE40 and arguably become the best weapon in Call of Duty Mobile. Because of that 10mm round, it's going to give you a damage boost and a range boost. So that's going to be big. But then we have a decrease in our mobility, such as ADS speed and many other factors. So we want to build up upon those, including our damage range with the monolithic suppressor, because there are going to be some ranges that are going to be in between 10 to 30. So like, let's say 15 meters or 18 meters, in which that monolithic suppressor will be able to help you out. I've been able to notice it. Trust me, try class setup, you're going to be noticing it. It's going to be an absolute laser as well. And I do want to mention one more thing though, however. It's very important that with this class setup, you do kind of train yourself with the recoil. In general, the recoil is much easier to control with this weapon. Even though our control has went down, that accuracy is going to make sure that we don't have to worry too much about controlling it, even though the whole issue is still there. Anyways, by the way, the whole gameplay is of ranked, just because I'm trying to get a little bit better at ranked. But nonetheless, let's actually get into the damage and the damage range of the QQ9 over here. So first thing that you're going to be seeing on your screen right now is the damage and the damage range for the QQ9 without any attachments. So as you can see, this weapon, you should be using it at the very most, 20 meter range. Okay, anything more than that, I don't know what you're doing. This is a SMG. This is built for close quarters combat. So don't use it for anything more. Don't use it for anything else, okay? We are, relatively speaking, going to be using 4 to 7 shots if we're pushing it to that 20 meter mark, which, I mean, like, it's not that bad, especially when we consider our RPM, which we'll get into later. Now let's actually compare it to the class setup over here. So the class setup is going to be using one less bullet at 20 and 30 meters. So in my opinion, it's still a win-win situation, because even though you won't be using this weapon at 30 ranges, maybe at 20, it's going to be giving you a 20 range boost over there. It really will, and I've been able to notice it. I really have been able to notice it. And I'm a big fan of this attachment, actually, because even though we aren't going to be using this weapon at 30 meters, 20 meters is fairly common in Call of Duty Mobile, and one less shot means a lot. It really is going to mean a lot. So let's actually continue on with the recoil and recoil pattern of this weapon. So the recoil on the QQ9 is fairly decent. There's nothing too crazy about it when it comes down to the hip fire range. When it comes down to hip fire, it's usable. However, when it comes down to not controlling it, as we all know, it just kicks straight up. It really does. But let's say we want to sit down and try to control it without any sort of attachments. It's a little bit difficult. It's manageable, it's possible, but it's just a little difficult. Now, in comparison to our class, hip fire, there's nothing really adjusted there. However, when it comes down to the accuracy is much better. We were able to help out the accuracy over there, which is going to mean that we don't have to worry too much about controlling it. Don't get me started. I mean, like, you do need to control the recoil on this weapon, but not as bad if you have that extra boost in your accuracy. And I was able to notice that. I really am a big fan of that part. Now let's actually get into the ADS, RPM, and reload speed of both the base and the class over here. So the ADS speed of the base without any attachments is 0.2333 seconds, so it's looking pretty good. I'm a big fan of that part. The RPM is very fast, not as fast as the Fennec, but still very fast at 818 rounds per minute, and the reload speed is roughly at 1.95 seconds. So I mean, like, it's, in my opinion, I would like it a little bit faster, but it's still fine. It's still usable. I'm still a big fan of it. And when we get into the actual class, our ADS speed is, essentially speaking, 1 frame faster because of that no stock and our other attachments that we put in, mostly the no stock. We are going to be running at 0.2166 seconds. So it's looking very bright for us. When it comes down to RPM, that 10mm round does slow us down. It really does. It slows us down to 771 rounds per minute. So even though we are slightly on the slower end, we're very close to the RPM of the AK-117. It's still usable, and do not forget that this class still works beautifully with its extra damage boost. It really does. Now, then we can continue on into the reload speed, which is 2.25 seconds. So it is fairly slow, I will admit that, but regardless of which, it's still very good, because something I do recommend with you guys is that whenever you get a kill, just go ahead and reload. Okay, I don't care how many bullets you still have left. You could have 20 left. Reload. Just reload after every single one. Now, yes, granted speaking, you could put down the perk that increases reload speed, but then you'll have to give up another attachment that may potentially coincide with our mobility, with our control or accuracy, and we don't really want that. We don't want to ruin those things over here. So regardless of which, I really have nothing else to say in regards to this weapon. I think everything that had to be said was said in regards to this weapon. You guys saw the mathematics behind it. And lastly, the last thing I do want to say about it, however, is mostly opinionated. And it's the fact that the QQ9 is one of the best weapons in the game. Whenever somebody pulls out something like the HD40, I can easily counteract what they're doing with the QQ9. I mean, like, it has that fast RPM, and it has pretty good damage. I'm gonna give it that, as well as its fantastic accuracy, especially with this class. I love the QQ9. Honestly, it was also one of my favorite weapons to use when it first came out. Not as much as the Cordite. I still loved the Cordite back then, but it is a very good weapon. Regardless of which, ladies and gentlemen, I don't really have anything else left to say. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like. Please make sure to subscribe and let me know what you guys think of the class. Are you guys going to be using it? And if you're going to be changing it, what part of it? Now, I highly don't recommend that you do, but if you want a little bit more of a control base, I do recommend taking off the stock and putting on the recon tac, or whatever the name of that attachment is. I recommend putting that on. But even that isn't really a class setup that, you guys saw me recommend. I tried it out, but slow ADS time. Nonetheless, have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Next episode will be on the HG40, and after that, we will be getting into the AK-47 with its brand new attachments. And then after the AK-47, we will be taking a look at the M4, then the LK24, and then we will come back to the SMGs. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, have a great, fantastic day.